Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Tuesday live stream. So a lot of stuff to go over, so let's just jump right in. And before we get into it, actually, I will just say that I'd like to make this one a little bit quicker so we can spend a little more time on the Q&A part, which I think is pretty productive. So real quick, the last 24 hours, we've seen quite a bit of a dip, not a big deal. I don't really focus too much on the 24-hour time frame, or even the 7-day, or even the monthly. I really don't care. But it's worth noting that after this Bitcoin convention, we've had quite a bit of a tumble downwards. And I know some people will say, well, that's just par for the course. Me personally, I look at this, I'm like, this is great because this is the time for me to accumulate and wait until 2025. But I will just give a shout out to the very few projects that are in the green over the last 24 hours, not 7 days, but 24 hours. XRP, if anybody needs a win, it'll be the XRP Army for sticking to that project. Sweet Mary and Joseph, good for you guys. Tencoin barely hanging on at 0.7. And Caspa, there was one more. Stellar. Go figure. So that's what's going on. But I really want to focus on this. I was just taking a look at what was happening in the crypto and digital asset space today. We're going to talk about what happened with the SEC versus Binance case, and how people are assuming that what they are saying is that now these specific cryptos are not securities, which I will tell you that I don't think that's what it is. We'll also take a look at Solana overtaking Ethereum in fees and some other metrics. And also we'll take a look at some ETFs, what's going on. But to me, this is the story. And the story is that right now, I know everybody would like to go up as fast as possible, but I just feel like we're exactly where we're supposed to be in this time frame. And I know everybody will say, well, this time is different because we were all jazzed up about the ETFs being gobbled up by BlackRock. Of course, Grayscale likes to dump on us, but hey, what are you going to do? And of course, we've had a lot of positive inflows as far as like with the government here in the United States, which I did not have in my bingo card for 2 presidential candidates to go, pretty much full bull on Bitcoin, depending. Watch my video yesterday about which one I think is the better candidate for crypto. But if we just take a look at this and we're looking at just the market cap trend line and just where things are going, we can see that this red line right here would be our fair market value. And this is where we can assume, or we can see that this is actually a good point to where we should be in the cycle. Now, as time has gone on, we can see that obviously things have gone grossly ahead of ourselves. In 2013, we were way ahead of a fair market value. And that's where you probably or will think about selling. Most of you will do it because you've been with me for quite some time. Some of you won't. That's okay. Do what you ever want to do. But then, of course, things cool off, and then we go below the trend line, then we go up and go down. Just like it's a constant game. It's a constant game. So when people tell you, you got to do this, you got to do that, just tell them to shut their mouth. Just say, you be quiet because I know what's best for me and my family. So we take a look at this here. Let me just zoom in. I think this is, they say when in doubt, zoom out, but sometimes I like to zoom in and really see what's going on today. This is right where we should be. And no matter what you look at as far as like the good, positive news we just talked about, where, of course, you're going to find out on a lot of channels in the Moon Boys, or you see about the negative aspects of it, what's going on in the economy here in the United States, globally, the macro environment. Are there going to be rate cuts? Is unemployment actually going up? Looks like it is. And, what's going to happen before and after the presidential election? Of course, that could all be negative. It just filters all in. But right now, this is where we're supposed to be at. And if you take a look here, actually, let me reset the zoom. The highest point for our total market cap was roughly around November 10th. Correct me in the comments section, maybe 11th November. And the total market cap for Bitcoin and all altcoins was around $2.8 trillion. Now, the upper band set us to 7.8. And that's where we thought it was going to go because, back in 2017, it hit this. So it has to hit this, right? That's not how it works. All models are wrong and some are useful. And this one, I like to see where we're going. So yeah, it would have been great to get there, but that just wasn't the case. So we came up around here about 2.8 for the total market cap. Now we're coming over here 2024, going into 2025. And I said this many a time, I don't think we're going to go too far until we figure out who the president's going to be. Heck, we don't even know who the vice president's really going to be. As an update to that later. Well, we can just see that the fair market value, 2.72, 2.8. That's where we were at last time. Total market cap right now is around $2.4 trillion. Hold on, excuse me. That can't be right. Yeah, 2.4 trillion. So we're not too far away from where we are at as far as like all-time highs. And if we extrapolate that and just say, okay, if we think about from end to end, from the lows to the highs, where we could potentially see the biggest gains, I still say it's going to be in 2025. If you follow Bob Lucas, he talks about a left translated cycle, but he's already said that he doesn't think it's going to be that way. He thinks we're going to go in 2025. I have to agree with Bob on this one. If we just extrapolate that out and just look at the fair market value, just the fair value, and go to November. Hell, let's just go to October. I don't care. You're looking at around 4.8 trillion, almost $5 trillion for the fair market value. But as we all know, usually in the blow off tops, as we go forward, we're not just hitting fair market value. We're going a little bit above that. I don't see us going to 36. Geez, Louise, 30. Is that really right? Sweet Mary and Joseph. Yeah, I don't see us going to 43 trillion. Sorry. But I'm going to give you a price prediction right now. The total market cap of crypto will be somewhere between 1.6 trillion and 44.2 trillion. That's my assessment. But in all honesty, even if we hit a fair market value of around 4.8, 4.9 trillion and roughly 5 in December, can you imagine what your bags will be worth after you did all that hard work in the bear market? So again, we're riding that line. I sincerely hope we go below this red line before we go to all-time highs, but these are where we want to be, and I think this is good stuff. So we take a look at that. It's great news. You're going to start to hear all types of news moving forward. You're going to start to hear about the Ethereum ETF, and of course, here's the numbers going all the way to 29th July. Looks like we don't have the new ones in, but you can see that so far the Ethereum ETF hasn't done the greatest. But as a reminder, the Bitcoin ETF, like the first 2 weeks, wasn't the most stellar. I mean, we had as far as like price appreciation. So for this one, I mean, right now, the total flow, thanks to Ethereum yet again, you're looking at a negative, wow, $440 million worth of Ethereum flow. And where is that coming from? You guessed it, the Ethereum Grayscale Fund. And people will say, but Rob, you got to remember that, they're just taking that 2.5% and they're just rolling into 0.15 or to a lower fees. No, they're not. They're selling and they're getting the hell out. And that's pretty much what it is. Or maybe they hate everybody and they're going to some other one. Maybe they're going to BlackRock or Fidelity or Bitwise, whatever else. But that still doesn't equate to where we're at right now. People are selling. People are getting out because they're just not happy. That's just what it is. I wish them the best. They got to take profits and get out of here. So we'll see stuff like that. And we'll see negative news there, positive news over here. ETF Bitcoin flows through July 20. Let's see. Yeah, 29th July. Let's say 30th. Yeah. And we had a monster day yesterday. I mean, we had Grayscale, 3,000 Bitcoin. And Grayscale was doing their usual Grayscale-y thing. And if we take a look at it, we're actually today, congratulations, we're at an all-time high for net Bitcoin flows. So the positive and the negative, we're almost at 300,000 Bitcoin. That's amazing. And what's the price doing? Again, this is it. This is why you can't focus too much on price. You just kind of track the goods and the bads and see where things are going. So that is that piece. Let me know what you think about that in the comment section. And then not to be outdone, I'd like to give credit where credit is due, which is to Solana. Solana has been one of those projects that keeps making waves. And this was the first time, I think of all time, that Solana overtakes Ethereum in weekly fee revenue for the first time. And I'll have to say this, I would preface it with this, and that is that it's not just Ethereum for the fees. Remember, there's Ethereum, Layer 1, there's Arbitrum and Polygon and Optimism and a whole host of other ones for like Layer 2s and Layer 3s. So this, I always read these snippets of information with a grain of salt, because I don't know if they actually included the Layer 2s, and apparently they did. So here's what we got. According to Blockworks research, Solana generated approximately $25 million in revenue during the week of July 22nd, edging out Ethereum's $21 million. That's pretty good. So the breakdown is as such. 58% of the fee revenue came from MEV tips, while 37% was derived from priority transaction fees. The network generated $5.5 million in daily revenue on July 28th, which is the highest in 3 months. That's pretty good. The network had generated more revenue on July 28th, just on July 28th, than Ethereum, Arbitrum, and Base combined, without including MEV tips. However, it was also noted that the high trading volumes on Solana dexes were not genuine. Let me say that again. So we're just talking about fees. We're not talking about trading volumes and things that are going on within the ecosystem. There is to note that high trading volumes on Solana dexes were not genuine, with much of the volume connected to wash trading, which is quite popular and makes things look much more appeasing than they actually are. So I'm glad they actually point that out. Ethereum remains the leader in TVL, holding nearly 60 billion, more than 10 times higher than Solana's roughly 5.5 billion. So again, we're making a distinction here between the revenue generated, which if you think about it, we want revenue to be low. I mean, we want the fees to be low, right? But I mean, if you have that high of transactions, if you have, one transaction that costs you $1 billion, I'm just saying, and then you have, 10 billion transactions that cost you just a penny per transaction, then of course, one is obviously the winner. So what you really want to take a look at is, and there's a link in the description, it's at artemis.xyz, and take a look at chains. And if we can do this, we can take a look at daily active addresses and transactions, and we can come down here for fees. So let's just zoom in real quick. So I just took a look at Ethereum, Near, Solana, Base, Ton, Cardano, Polygon, ZK, EVM, just to name a few. And these are the ones that I picked out just to see how many daily active addresses are out there. Now remember, there could be some on-chain manipulation, but here's what we have. As of the 29th, Solana had 2.3 million active addresses. Pretty good. Near is not far behind at 2 million, Polygon 1 million, Base, Ton, Ethereum, Cardano 32,000. That's awful. Maybe they should get some more bots or something. And Polygon 3.7. Daily transactions, however, take a look at this. It's pretty big. You got Solana at 40 million daily transactions. That's a lot. Near 6.3, Base 3.6, Polygon 3.1, Ethereum 1, 938, 37. Again for Cardano, ZK, EVM. So we're looking at a lot of transactions. Now what I want to take a look at is the fees. Does it really add up? So let's see. So fees, and again, you have to add pretty much all these in. So Solana, 2.1 million. But I mean, they had a lot of transactions, did not? So if you have, I don't know, what it was, 8x of the transactions or something like that, correct me in the comments. That's a lot to generate that much revenue. Ethereum, 1.8, Base, 110,000. Again, I mean, the fees are so low, it makes no sense. Ton, 55,000, that's pretty good. Ton's very fast. Near Protocol, 19,000. See, that's another thing. If you take a look at this Near Protocol, they had a lot of transactions, but very few revenue. So what does that tell you? One's really damn cheap. Polygon, Cardano, a whopping 6,000. And Polygon, $203. Watch out. So again, I'm not here to guide you in any way and to have you come to, or make you come to your conclusion. You do the research, you take a look at Artemis, and you can add in anything you want. You can add in all different types of layer 1s, 2s, 3s. I don't even know there's layer 4s now. I have no idea. And just take a look at it and make the own distinction for yourself. So anyhow, let me know what you think about that in the comments. And then also, there's been this information kind of circulating around. And I really wanted to talk about it, but I had to wait because I didn't know if this was going to pan out to be correct. And it is, but it's not. So this has been circulating. Zia Hack, I think I said it right. Nailed it. It says breaking. The SEC amends their lawsuit against Binance. Solana, ADA, Matic, Filecoin, Atoms, and blah, 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 are no longer securities. Another good news for the crypto community. And what they're referencing here is the SEC's proposal where it says, the SEC informed defendants, Binance, that it intends to seek leave to amend its complaints with respect to third-party crypto asset securities, essentially saying, okay, we're just going to give it to you, right? And I was like, that's great. And then, but I'm not a lawyer. I don't really know. So I had to wait for Jake Chervinsky. And he states, where's Jake from? Let's see. There he is. Chief Legal Officer of Variant Fund, Board at Fund DeFi, Blockchain Association, Compound Finance. I'm also a lawyer, so, Chief Legal Officer. So I would think that his comment would have a certain gravitas about what the situation actually is. And Jake says, look, there's no reason to think the SEC has decided Sol is a non-security. I would assume he's talking about also all of them. That they don't want to do discovery on a dozen tokens in the Binance case appears to be a litigation tactic, not a change in policy. So again, it's always best to wait sometimes, most times, almost every time, to get the story right. Here we go. Note the SEC still calls these tokens securities in the other exchange cases. So I know I'd like to celebrate too and, roll this stuff out, but, got to be as accurate as you possibly can. So kind of a win, kind of not. Looks like Gary's taking another big fat L, and that's fine. And then also, lastly, and then we'll get into the Q&A, I just want to, this is going off into the far side of altcoins, we will say, hamster combat. And I've talked about this many a time on the show. I believe that Toncoin is going to be, it's already in the top 10, for Pete's sakes. It's doing pretty well. But there was this game that I've been talking about that you could just do mining. We've been talking about this for like 2 months, and they're close to having their airdrop, and it was free. It just was a little bit of time that you had to put in, and we'll see how it works out. But what I like about this one, and they just put this out this morning, they said, we firmly believe that each player contributes to our shared success. To reflect this, we've allocated, check this out, a whopping 60% of the total token supply for community distribution. And they actually put out their white paper. And I'll link in the description. But what we're looking at here, and I like this part where they say here, for the tokenomics, 60% of the airdrop's volume will be dedicated to players, essentially going to all the community. And they state, since we have neither investment firms nor VCs backing us, there is no extra sell pressure. And a community-driven token, its value will be determined by demand, supply, and community interest. I explained why this token will be big, why the other ones on Ton, the open network, will be enormous. And I put a video out. Whoops, that's not it. Right here. There's a link in the description. You can check that out. So again, Ton's going to be, and the different things in the ecosystem should be big. And when I was at the Bitcoin conference, everybody that I talked to were like, no. Solana and meme coins are going to be huge, and layer 2s are going to be big. Maybe. I don't know. But I have my thesis and they have theirs. We'll see who works out. And then lastly, I just want to remind everybody that my buddy Tom Crown is going to have a live stream where he's going to be doing the Fed chair. Jerome Powell is going to speak. And then maybe we get a rate cut. I sincerely doubt it, but some people have said it's going to happen tomorrow. So we'll see. And I linked this in the description for tomorrow. We'll all meet up over there and bombard Tom on his live stream. And that's it for today. So look, like today's video, give it a thumbs up, consider subscribing. Everything we talk about is time sensitive. Now, if you want to go over, do a little Q&A, which we should have made that shorter, do that right now. But if you got to take off, take off. Thanks, everybody.